Yo, what's going on? I caught myself off guard that time. Technology getting the best of me. But anyway, this one is about chicken, man. And a lot of us have been feeding chicken for a long time. And myself, I've been feeding chicken for the better part of 20 years now. I think I started feeding chicken in Ukanuba. Let me see, this is 2020. Yeah, literally, I started feeding chicken in Ukanuba right around 2000. So it's been 20 years since Ukanuba has been bought out and their recipe isn't the same, so I stopped using them. But yeah, I'm one of those people who do feed meat and kibble. Now, what I would tell you about this is that I'm getting a lot of reports. I'm getting a lot of serious reports about chicken with our dogs and the extra hormones that has been over the years have been put into chickens to make them grow. And it's one of the reasons why I eat more no antibiotic, no hormone chickens, is because, you know, these chickens are literally going from an egg to your dinner plate in 6 weeks. You know, the conditions that they are kept in are very, very filthy. A lot of times they grow at such a fast rate that oftentimes their bones can't support their weight. And the chicken, you know, I mean, with those things that come along with it, you have to think that this has some effects on the animals. And there's a couple researchers that do believe that it's having a negative effect on breeding animals that do eat the chicken, especially since in our community we feed chicken raw, you know, for the most part. Now some of us still try to cook it, but for the most part it's raw chicken, and we try to balance the diet by different fruits and vegetables to make sure they're getting vitamins, and most times the daily vitamin. But what is happening is that recently, a veterinarian that I know, actually, you know, we had a good conversation, and she's been keeping some records on her own in her office, you know, as to what people feed, and doing a little analytical thing as the probability of your litters and how your litters will come out. Will they come out big and healthy, or will they, you know, be suffering and, you know, basically have the fading puppy syndrome? Well, you know, her stats are pretty amazing as to the fact that a lot of the dogs who have a heavy chicken diet are actually having a lower fertility rate. Not only are they having less puppies, but the mortality rate on their puppies happen to be lower, you know, happens to be higher. You know, the fading puppy syndrome, as it's called. A lot of times the puppies will be born maybe not all the way as fat. When puppies are born, they're pretty fat, like, you know, little cuddly things. And these puppies are not being born, you know, that healthy, and over the next 2 weeks they'll start to die off. And it's what makes it even more strange, and I've actually had this happen with a litter or two, is that the puppies look healthy. You'll see them sucking, they got a ton of energy, they doing their thing, and then you'll notice all of a sudden you hear this crying, this whining, you know, and you're like, what in the world is wrong with them? And then they don't want to eat. So even if you go through the process like a more experienced breeder like myself, where you start to do the tube feeding, what happens is that they're just dying. A lot of us believe that their organs aren't properly developed and functioning at a good level, and that's probably one of the reasons. I know with the ones that I had, as I looked at the bottom of the stomach, it would start to get like a bluish tint, like maybe the circulation wasn't good, or some kind of other failure inside. But, you know, once you hear that whining and that constant crying, and they don't want to eat, even if you force them to eat and you do the tube feeding and these different things, typically the dog will still die within, if not the first 24 hours to 48 hours. And it's strange because you'll see one die, and then you'll look at the litter and you're like, okay, well, okay, I still got 7, you know what I mean? And another one will do it, and another one will do it. And then, you know, and sometimes it's the entire litter that does it, or most of the litter will die, and you'll end up with 1 or 2 puppies. And this is not always because of chicken, because I've seen other people have it, you know, happen, but it's most times contributed to a nutritional imbalance or a nutritional deficit, basically meaning that the dog is not getting enough of the proper nutrients to support, you know, the puppy health. One of the signs that you see when this happens is that the female, as soon as she has the puppies, if you're a female, and this is whether you feed chicken or whatever, the female will be really skinny. It's a very, very bad sign if as soon as your girl has puppies that she's skinny. because what that shows is that she wasn't carrying enough body fat in the beginning to begin with. Body fat is crucial for a mother that's feeding puppies. It's one of the reasons why women naturally carry more body fat, is because it's the call of the wild. It's the nature thing. As women nurse us or nurse our kids or whatever, throughout time, they need more body fat to nurture us. And it's the same thing with your dog. So if you see your dog right after a litter and she's like sort of skin and bones already, looking like she's maybe fed the puppies already for 4 or 5 weeks, it's a good chance that the puppies are not going to get the proper nutrition. Now, what you can do at this time, if you are blessed enough that your puppies are healthy enough to survive, and you see that the female is there, cottage cheese, fatty yogurt, not the non-fat shit, get the good fat. Right now only kind I can find is the fatty Greek yogurt, but the cottage cheese, the Greek yogurt, sometimes you might have to go to something like a dine, but you want to get those extra calories in there. You want to add that extra fat there along with the rest of the vitamins, not just fat, but you want to add some fat to her diet to help her out, because puppies will do a number on the bitch regardless. You'll have a big healthy bitch and eventually the puppies will do a number on her. But what we have to do is focus on the female being of a certain weight, of a certain health, in order to maintain these puppies. A lot of people have cut over to the raw diet situation, and they truly don't know with the raw diet that the proper way to run it. A lot of people just be like, hey man, I feed my dog chicken every now and then, I give him this every now. Well, that's not a good balance. Basically in a lot of cases what y'all doing is end up putting your dog on a keto diet. And with a keto, where most people are feeding just the meat, and a keto diet, just like it does on people, you'll shred up. You're cutting the dogs, it's starting to feed off of the fat instead of actually, having the proper nutrients to hold them with and maintain fat. And even with the puppies or just every day-to-day life, these vitamins are needed for bodily function. Long-term effects could be very, very serious on there. Now, going back to the chicken before I get off of this thing, the high amount of hormones that is in the chicken, the high amount of bacteria that's coming with the chickens now, I mean, it's not the same because of the conditions that these animals live in. A lot of the chickens, even that you get from the store, this is why you can't eat a freaking chicken raw, is because the chicken itself is, it's a very, very bacteria infested animal now. Unless you're buying, organic, farm raised good chicken, then it's better. But a lot of these, where we buying bags of chicken or buying it in bulk, those are those super shot up, super antibiotic, depleted immune system, disease infested animals. And if you're feeding that to your dogs on a regular basis, it might be bad for you. Now you say, what would I recommend? What would I recommend is that if you don't totally drop the chicken, I would say, especially if you can afford it, get you some better chicken. Don't just buy the regular shit. Get them some better chicken. You'd rather feed less good chicken than more bad chicken. And switch your meats up. Do some beef sometime. I don't recommend pork. It's a very nasty animal that I never give my dog pork. Shit, I ain't touch pork. But turkey is a decent one. But mix your meats up, you know what I mean? Go back and forth so it's not a constant thing of chicken. And then the next thing I would say is always make sure that you got your blend of fruits and vegetables and different things so that the dog is getting a balanced diet. And keep a daily vitamin to make sure that the dog is getting a balanced diet. Now, some of y'all do chicken and kibble, or you use the chicken as just a snack. That is great. But remember, whether it's chicken, whether it's beef, any raw diet you're doing, it is not just giving your dog meat. You have to give the vegetables, the fruits, and different things like that to make sure that these dogs are getting the proper nutrition, and especially a pregnant bitch. Understand your pregnant bitches need as much nutrition as possible. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that you can overfeed a pregnant bitch. It's just the truth. When my girls are pregnant, I truly try to load them up, man. I give them a little bit of everything. I let them now. I don't try to get them overweight or obese or anything, but I've never seen one really get obese during pregnancy because the puppies are taking so much from her. So as much as she eat, they'll take it. But remember this, you want your puppies to come out that womb fat, healthy, ready to go, a ton of energy. They got their own body fat. Their own body fat is key for them to be able to maintain their their body temperature, because usually it's 48 to 72 hours the puppy can't control his body temperature at all, even when they're fat and healthy. But if you have a skinnier puppy who doesn't have very much fat on his body to begin with, this puppy won't be able to control body weight and keep warm for anything. You know what I mean? It'll take it a very long time, weeks, before it builds up those fats. So this is all methods of survival. You know, remember when we doing litters and whatever, nutrition is optimal. I always recommend giving that daily vitamin to make sure. And some now places have the prenatals for dogs. Those I've never used them, but I looked at the vitamins on there, and they look very, very good. But balanced diet, going about this thing the right way. Another thing that helps out sometimes for me, and I'm just speaking for myself, I put a little bit of rice in the food, and for whatever reason, you know, some people are totally against rice and any kind of grain, but my dogs seem to do well when I give them rice, especially during pregnancy. They hold their weight a little bit better. Seems like it keeps their stomach a little more calm. But these are all things that you can do to make sure that your dog is healthy and ready to go through pregnancy, man. Not just pregnancy, but life. Be careful of overfeeding that chicken and choose a better chicken, man, because right now things ain't looking too good on the stats on it. Until later, God bless. Peace.